Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Well, do we have a funny video for tonight? We do, because I know what the video is going to be about. Recently, I looked at a site called Vocalaise, where I was mentioning about how things on my analysis videos in the future might look a little bit different because I'm changing the pitch monitoring software that I'm using because it's now going to be more detailed. But I was also mentioning where that came from, and Vocalaise was the site where you can sing along with your favorite songs and see the lead singer's pitch and try and match it. So for that video, as an example, I gave my song called Paris Nord, and that was to avoid copyright blocks or copyright problems with any other songs that are other people's, because I own my own songs. So the comments that I got underneath that were certainly quite interesting, and I will get them up on screen so you can see this kind of thing. Funny how your vocal is snapped exactly to every line with zero deviation, never missing. Were this any other artist that you were so diligently hound dogging, we know what they'd already be accused of. And by the way, every video is requested, so I'm not chasing artists or trying to expose them and all that kind of stuff. I just say what's going on in each performance. So we have that, and then here, sorry, but this looks pitch corrected, Phil, or you are amazingly accurate. Oh, and this is the start of that comment that we just saw. Moving on, and then holy singing accuracy, and then over the line. I know this isn't pitch corrected, but sometimes it's hard to tell which is which with vocal pitch monitor. And then at the bottom here, somebody said, I think we need Phil to do an analysis of one of his own videos. Perhaps he comps the takes, not sure. So, well, that's what this video is going to be, because I'm going to explain why things look the way that they do, but also on that video, it wasn't an analysis of my own voice. I've actually never looked at my voice on pitch monitoring software, so it was interesting, and it is interesting for me to take a look at it to see how accurate I actually am. But it was to show the site, Vocalaise. So I'm not approaching it in an analysis kind of way, but I will in this video to explain exactly where people have maybe misinterpreted what they're looking at. So something that I will openly admit to doing is having practiced a hell of a lot. On my live stream recently, I said that I spent 6 days a week for a year singing scales, trying to get them as accurate as possible, just trying to get the muscle memory so that my vocal cords can snap to where the notes are. So, and I did say that once you do it a lot, you can start to sing without even needing a guide, because you'll know the semitones and the distance between them. And then you can do one semitone, go up an octave, come down, move up a semitone, octave, come down, move up a semitone. So you don't really need any backing, when you're that used to doing it. So yeah, being accurate pitch-wise is a skill that you can work at, and you can get really good at it. Now, it's not my place for me to say, guys, I'm really accurate as a vocalist. I've got great pitch accuracy. That's not for me to say, because that's a subjective opinion as to what you consider accurate or not. All I've done is try to get as accurate as possible over the last, 10 years, however long I've been singing. So, moving forward, here, another one. That Phil from Wings of Pegasus looks suspiciously on the lines. I think he's been pitch corrected. Could you do an analysis of one of his songs? So that's what I'm going to be doing. And, this last one says, did someone in the studio pitch correct your vocals? So, short answer, no, because I do everything myself. So the reason that I can say I've never used pitch correction is because I know that I've never used it. In fact, I got Melodyne about a year ago purely for my analysis videos, because I wanted to look at the software to see what it could do, what its limitations were, so that when I was speaking on pitch correction, I could speak with a little bit more knowledge from knowing how it all works and what can be done with it. So the vocal from this song that we'll be looking at is at least 10, maybe 15 years old. So that would have been quite early on in the whole pitch correction game, and it would have been a bit laborious to actually apply it. Anyway, Yeah, I've never used it. Would be a bit stupid for me to say I've never used it and then to use it, but I'm going to show in this video as to why I think people have misinterpreted what they're looking at. So here is a part of my song called Paris Nord, and I think we're probably about to get into the chorus maybe, and when we're looking at this, and this is how it displayed or was displayed in the video that I did previously when I was just talking about this site. So it wasn't an analysis video. And here you could say, oh, he's on the line. And down here, oh, he's on the line. Here, he's on the line. He's on the line. He's on the line. He's on the line. And the reason that it all looks like we're on the line, and it never looks like this in my analysis videos, the lines have been squashed together. So look at the amount of, we've got an F sharp 3 here. We're going all the way up to an E6. So this is almost 3 octaves worth of pitch that we're looking at from the F sharp 3. If I keep going up here, F sharp 4, here, F sharp 5, and it goes out the top of the screen, but it will go to the F sharp 6. So 3 octaves worth of range that we're looking at with the lines, which means all of the data gets squashed. So what does that mean? It means the lines are going to look a lot more closer to the lines because they've been squashed, and all of the lines have been squashed together. So now if I just zoom in to what I would say is normal kind of analysis zoom. So here, now when we're looking at the lines, this one, you can say, oh, well, it's pretty good. And again, I've never looked at my voice, but I would hope that I'm quite accurate. And this one, that again, looked directly on the line. We can see I actually drifted sharp there. And then, I mean, here I'm flat. Here I'm actually sharp with the G sharp 3. Here I was bang on, so that's a win for me. B3. Here, sharp, descended. Here, actually flat, the D sharp 4, here flat, and then I go up. So you can start to see how when we look at it in detail, as I do with all of my analysis videos, which this one wasn't, you can see actually where my vocal is landing. But I'm going to just let this play through to see how I do in the chorus. So, having a look at this down here. So, again, I don't think you would say it's particularly noticeable, but that is significantly flat of the C sharp 4. Now, if I were recording this in the studio and if I were looking at it, then maybe I would think, if I were a modern day producer, oh, that was flat, so I'm going to move it up. But then looking at my other pitch, again, it's not for me to say that I'm accurate, but here I'm pretty much on the line, and here I'm pretty much on the line. And I've said that singers with great pitch can do this maybe 2, 3, 4 times in a row, but you know, that is it. That's kind of, you know, Karen Carpenter. That's best of the best. So if I get 2, you know, I'll settle for that. Obviously 2 and then totally missed it. But then F4, then I'm slightly flat and actually maintain this note flat. So I'm just going to take this back to now have a listen to see what it sounds like. Yeah, when you hear it in isolation, I can hear that that's a bit flat, but I have got sensitive ears. So here, almost on the line there, a little bit sharp, touch the line here, so that's 2. And here, actually, move it out the way, started a bit flat, went sharp, ended flat. I don't think I'm ever going to be like Karen Carpenter, you know, hitting 3, 4 lines in a row, but I think, yeah, for learning to sing and trying to appreciate where pitch is, it's not bad. In my opinion, of course. Spend the night with you in Paris, Lord. And I mean, it's great because when we are zoomed in to a normal kind of level up here, sharp, came down, a little bit flat here. Maybe, I mean, technically that's a little bit flat, sharp here, and then went up again, up through the C sharp 4, down flat of the C sharp 4, up to then flat of the D sharp 4, but then just touched the line. So, you know, even though it's very difficult looking at my own voice, if I were looking at this, I would still be thinking that, well, if you were pitch correcting this, why are you leaving in the bits and that bit earlier that was significantly flat? Why are you leaving that in? So the reason that that is there, because I've listened to my vocal and I thought it sounds okay, that I'm happy with how it sounds. And I've never looked at lines. So when you look at it, and this is why I don't think you should ever look at these lines if you are a vocalist and you're trying to judge your own pitch when you're singing, if you're recording in the studio. When you're practicing, you can look at these lines because it's going to help you get an appreciation, especially if you're not really anywhere near the pitch and you want to try and find, for example, where a D4 is, and you keep singing a note until you're getting to the D4, and then you think, right, now I know where that is, let me try and raise that a semitone. So it's a great tool for that. But if you're recording, I think you should just sing. And sing, listen to it back and see how you feel about it. So that person that said about doing comp takes, this wasn't all in one take in the studio. And because I very much was learning to sing, 10, 15 years ago, I would sing maybe the verse and the chorus and maybe the verse and the chorus again, and I would listen to that. And then I'd think, right, am I happy with that? And if I wasn't happy with it, you know, I very much follow the Seal school of thought. When Seal says, just do it until you get it right. So until you like the sound of what comes back. I'm going to let this play on.
So unfair, you left me there.
I mean, again, a little bit flat here. I would love to say that, look at this. What's going on here between the F sharp 4 and the G4? But again, it's because when looking at pitch, these lines don't really matter. And hopefully, if you're listening to this, it doesn't sound like, for example, there, you weren't aware that, oh, hang on, he's hit a note there that's actually between the lines. Because it's in context, and my intervals I'm making sure are pretty accurate. I'm waiting to get over here, again, significantly flat, but let's have a listen.
Choose the 935 from Paris Road.
And again. Oh, look, this is on the line, because that was my guitar, which was tuned. And that's what happens. When you tune something, you're calibrating it to A440, whereas the human voice doesn't work like that. So, yeah, rest assured that my vocals are not on these lines. They might be, maybe a couple of times in a row, and that's I don't mind that. I'm quite happy with that, but I'm not calibrated to these lines. The guitar, when something is tuned, that is calibrated, but nobody can sing on the lines. I can't sing on the lines. So to the people that said, oh, you're on the lines all the time throughout the whole song, hopefully, you can see on screen that that's clearly not the case, that even here I was, flat, flat, flat. And this is the same song that I looked at. But I think because we were so zoomed out, that all of the stuff that actually was flat looked like it was over a line when in fact it actually wasn't. Now, because it's probably my OCD kicking in, I don't have OCD, but I think it's actually going to be an interesting test to try and sing along to see if I can get the note that I sang really flat in the studio, to see if I can get that closer by just singing it into this microphone. And by the way, when I sing along here, I'm not pitch correcting what I'm doing here, and I don't pitch correct anything in my analysis videos, just so you know. I don't know at which point we're going into the song, but I'll try and figure it out. Lost in your eyes, Paris night skies, both hypnotized. Find a way to find your way. Spend the night with you in Paris North. Okay, right. So, how did I do with... Can we take it back and maybe have a look? Right, so the white line was just me. And... Oh, I think I... Did I do it? Let's have a listen. Oh, it's not going to... It's not going to record my voice, but we can look at my lines that I just went through. Oh, they disappear when you go over it. Right, okay, so you can see here, oh, it's a little bit sharp. In the studio, it's a little bit flat. Here, exactly the same. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. So just singing now into this microphone, that, I mean, even if I were... It would be impossible to pitch correct this because we're listening to vocalize and my voice at the same time with my vocal taken out of the track and with the track still going. So it would be impossible for me to do what I just did and pitch correct it, you know, in real time, or to use auto-tune. So the good thing is that here you can clearly see that me just singing into the microphone, I mean, here, again, I was kind of on the line there. I'll tell you what we can do. Let's make this really shallow. And now look at my white lines here being over the line. And that's exactly the same. That's actually... Oh, that's where I was flat in the studio. Now I'm over the line. And you know, I just did this. And here, look at this held note. That's over the line for ages. But I just did that. So anyway, again, what I'm saying is that I have worked at pitch for a very long time. And when you look at things like this, everything starts to look like it's over the line. But I'm quite happy actually that I rectified this note that was flat in the studio, and now I just sang it more accurately. So anyway, and here, I mean, you could say that, well, that is pretty much over the line when we're zoomed in. And that's the vocal that I literally just sang. But anyway, I mean, it has been interesting for me to take a look at my own voice and how accurate or inaccurate I may be. But I think when you're used to looking at pitch lines on screen, as I've been doing for years, when you're looking at a held note on screen, like, you know, this, for example, the amount of variation that we get, that it's a lot more sporadic when it is the human voice. The huge part that you want to always listen out for is the processed sound. And I know some people might not be able to hear it, but the quality of the vocal is compromised because it has been edited. It's been processed by a computer processor, changing it from what it originally was. So if you're listening to a vocal and you can't hear any processing on it, and you can normally hear the processing, I mean, that should be kind of the first thing. When people said, oh, have you pitch corrected your voice? Well, there's no processing sound on it because it's not pitch corrected. The processor isn't moving it as close as it can get to these lines. It's me as a human trying to sing as accurately as possible and not actually even looking at these lines. So when we do look at a held note, for example, I mean, these, believe it or not, are held notes where we get all of this sporadic activity of kind of going up and down. Whereas when we're looking at pitch correction, what will tend to happen is it gets squashed if there is vibrato there and centered over A440, or if it's a held note, there's none of this sporadic stuff going on that actually goes, you know, maybe sharp and flat. It's pinned on the line. And sometimes the held note is directly over the line, so it just looks like a straight line in itself. Now, if I zoom in as far as possible, you can see that here, this line that from a distance will definitely look like it's perfectly straight over the line, you can see all the tiny variations that we get that show that, oh no, it's not over the line. It kind of goes above and then below, and then above, it comes down below and then above. But then as we now move out and it gets squashed down, look, looks like a straight line. So in the videos, when we're zoomed in, it maintains the look of a straight line when we're looking at, you know, pitch correction or auto tune. But a natural voice, and that's why I'm always quite zoomed into what we're looking at, it's never kind of 3 octaves worth of notes. We're always looking at these subtle variations in the voice. But thank you guys for all of the comments underneath that previous video, and I will take it as a huge compliment that people think I'm that accurate that it might be pitch correction, but it isn't, and I've never used it and never will use it. By the way, Jared, who does this site, I think, is reading the comments on that previous video. So he's making changes to the app to improve it for, the future and what people are saying in the comment section. And I've noticed already that the line when you sing along is now white instead of black, so it sticks out a little bit more. So if you guys want to check out that previous video and give feedback in the comment section, then you can do. But that is the video for tonight. Me analysing myself and reaching a new level of narcissism, but it's not my fault because I was specifically asked to do this. So thank you for requesting this video for tonight. As always, keep the suggestions and requests for future videos coming in the comment section below, and let me know what you guys think. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!